I was just setting up to do the video, doing the camera, doing the laptop and all the rest of it. And today's video was going to be, and is going to be, about your comments in relation to the fullback video, which I did yesterday. And thank you for all your comments on that. By the way, left back won by a landslide. I said, what's more important to West Ham, right back or left back? Left back won. Thank you for everybody for, well, it wasn't a vote, but you know what I mean, for participating. It was a whitewash. No competition here. Everybody thinks a left back. So anyway, so when I'm getting ready for the videos, when I go through a few of your comments, I flicked open the laptop as part of my ritual for setting up to do a video, and the article flicks up about Fabio Borini. If you remember him, Moyes could be reunited with Borini because he's a free agent, right? Now, you remember this guy. You must have. He's played lots in the Premier League. The very definition of a journeyman footballer. Not quite a good enough finisher to be a world-class finisher. Plays in numerous positions. Plays a bit up front, bit on the left, bit on the right. Plays as number 10. Not quite fast enough to be a winger. Not quite incisive enough of his passing with any sort of regularity to hold down a position as a creative player. Doesn't score that. Scores a few goals, gets some assists, but nothing that warrants any close examination. Anyway, I rate him, clearly. You can tell. And basically, he's been linked to West Ham because he's a free agent. But it is funny, because I'm just going to read the article. It's just absolute nonsense. But it's quite funny nonsense, actually. But, I mean, look, Borini is not as good as Fornals. Borini's not as good as Lanzini. He's not as good as anyone, right? Basically, Wilshire's better than Borini. I'm better than Borini. Everybody, right? So, anyway. I thought it was quite funny, but listen to this. So, it says, reported West Ham target Fabio Borini has become a free agent, but has not made a decision about his future just yet. Oh, I wonder why he's not made a decision. It's like me. I've not made a decision which supermodel I'm going to date yet, or which sports car I'm going to drive tomorrow. I've not made a decision yet. Agent Roberto Di Fanti has told Radio Punto Nuovo that the 29-year-old former Chelsea, Liverpool, Swansea, Sunderland striker, that's just in this country, by the way, could be tempted to return to the Premier League. Borini's AC Milan contract expired yesterday. Monday, basically. But an Italian is now without a club. So he's without a club, but he's not yet made a decision what he's going to do. It's been previously reported that West Ham could look to reunite David Moyes with his former Sunderland frontman, because that worked so well for him last time, didn't it? Borini, his contract has expired. This is not me talking. It's the agent talking. I'm not going to do the accent, but it's the agent talking. Borini, his contract is expiring, but he's still very young. He's 29 years old. What? I'll just say it again. Borini, his contract's expiring, but he's still very young. He's 29 years old. And he has experience. Well, which is it? Said Di Fanti, Sunderland's former director of football. Oh, didn't know that. We are in no hurry to make a hasty decision in the markets. Well, I've got my own suspicions why you're not making a hasty decision. As we've always done, we'll make the right decision. That's right. And a thoughtful choice for Fabio, Di Fanti added. It acts like, I don't know, I think this guy's had about 10 clubs. Like there's any sort of thought got into it whatsoever. Borini scored 17 goals in 93 appearances for Sunderland, spending the 2016-17 season under the watch of David Moyes. Borini and Moyes did not have the best of relationships. Sunderland. So why are we being linked with him? As the one-time Italy international slammed Moyes for playing him out of position. Borini only joined Verona in January after he was allowed to leave AC Milan after 11 appearances and scoring 3 goals. That is prolific by Borini's standards. But the fact that Milan were prepared to let him go tells you everything. Anyway, maybe it was just me that found that amusing. But there you go. Anyway, so left backs and... Anyway, the video, I want to go through a few of your comments from the video yesterday. So we'll start off with, move over, do me thing, move over, comments in that section there. Gaz said, would not surprise me, Gonzo, if David Moyes plays 5 at the back with Cresswell on the left side and Oggy in the middle. Diop on the right, with Arthur on the left wing back, Fredericks on the left right back. Like he did last time, sacrificing one from midfield. I think it's because of the fixtures we have. He's basically, I'll just skip to the next bit. He said, I think his hands are tied. The owner's not wanting to spend any money. What do you think? Well, what I think, Gaz, is I think we're onto a rocky road, my friend, if we start playing that system, because I do believe that all Moyes' best performances have come when he's plays 4 at the back. In fact, if you actually chart it back, I think his first game against Bournemouth played 4 at the back, absolutely brilliant. Went to 3 at the back, absolutely rubbish. And was it against Brighton? Have I got that right? To where we 3-1 up at half time or something? 4 at the back. And he thought, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the old 3 at the back here, and they ended up, and I think it was a draw. Was it 3-3 that game? If I remember that rightly. I just don't think it works for him. I think it's an idea that he thinks works, but actually there's precious little evidence to suggest it does. Next comment from Foshizi said, I believe that Moyes only has 12 months left of his 18-month contract. He's over a barrel. Ooh. And thus can't change the board for signings. Can't challenge the board for signings. It's obvious to most people that our problem lies in our defence. But as demonstrated with previous managers, William Carvalho for Bilic, Selen Hernandez for Pellegrini, GSB will take the cheaper, more profitable option. We urgently need a left-back, right-back, centre-back and a backup striker. I think what Foshizi is saying is, because Moyes only has 12 months left of his contract, he's going to have the old Pauper begging bowl Oliver thing out, saying, please, sir, can I have some more? But he's not going to push his luck too much because he wants you know what I mean? I would be very disappointed if I thought that was happening. I'd be very disappointed if I thought David Moyes was not willing to be insistent and be forthright with the owners because he was worried he only had 12 months left and he wanted some more time added on. So he was thinking, I'm not going to rock the boat. That would be very, very disappointing. But I totally take your point, Foshizi, sir. Or madam. I think it's definitely a sir. Regular Foshizi. Mark Weir says, I know this documentary is basically, so Mark's talking about the documentary that Tottenham are doing at the moment. I've not seen it, but I'm not completely immune to it because I was driving today and I had the radio on TalkSport and they were talking about it on there. Basically, Mark's suggesting that maybe our owners, what would happen if our owners did a documentary, one on West Ham, to give us a better idea of what the owners really get up to. It frustrates anyone by the lack of interest we are showing in players, and the owners must know how we feel. Look, there's no way that our owners would do a documentary. If they did do a documentary, I think it'd be a comedy. I'd quite like to write the script. I've got to be honest with you. Of the Fly on the Wall documentary and hire the actors, do the casting, and someone to play Sullivan, someone to play Gold, and I think that would be a good fun thing to do. A sort of, it'd be more like The Office, though. I mean, it wouldn't be. I think there'd be a lot of David Brent sort of stuff going on there. I think you'd also find you'd be quite shocked with such a documentary, Mark, because I think you'd be shocked by how little the owners are at the ground. David Gold does spend most of his time. I don't know how things have changed because of COVID, but David Gold does spend most of his time in the, I think it's in Godalming, and Summers offices. I think it's in. I'm down there all the time, and Summers HQ buying me knickers and all the rest of it. And I don't know where it is. I think Sullivan is mostly at his house. I think you'll find that neither of them go down to the training ground. I think they've been down to the training ground 3 or 4 times in total since he was there. I think David Sullivan pretty much runs West Ham from his house, from his office. We've all seen it. You've seen, how many times have you seen players and managers? I mean, go and look at the picture of Pellegrini. He's signing the contract in Sullivan's house. That's where he does business, basically. I think Karen Brady does 2 or 3 days at the stadium in the offices there, but not a lot. So I think your Fly on the Wall documentary, you'd be quite surprised how little time the owners spend in and around the club facilities and the club buildings, if you like. James Allen, he says, we aren't buying anyone, not even on loan. The owner's priority is staying in the Premier League. That's it. We saw at the end of last season. I've been weighing up why Moyes, Nolan, Pearce, etc. would want to be at the club under these owners. I think they must be insane to want to be here. All I would say to that, James, is the fact that we're not going to sign anyone and they just think it's enough to survive. I don't think they do. I think they know it was pretty scary, and I think they know we came close. I think they know that something else is needed. I just think they don't know how to do it. I just don't think they can get the signings over the line. I think they possibly either don't have the money or not prepared to spend the money. I think they know it's a perilous situation. I think if they were totally confident that what they had was enough and they didn't want to spend another penny, they wouldn't have signed Pearce. I think the very fact that Pearce has come on board and Moyes has said, no, we need something else here. I would expect signing. I would expect a loan. I would expect a signing of some description. If they don't, we're dicing with death. Literally, we are tweaking the nipple of terror if we don't bring anybody in, and that's never a nice thing to tweak. Very, very dangerous. Tom White said, I would take either at this point, meaning either a right back or a left back. Johnson can play in either position, so long as we have Johnson on one side and Nusa on the other. I don't mind. Fredericks, Cresswell, Masuaku are not good enough. There's a lot of people who have said similar things, people are not good enough, but I do think that's the most damning thing about it, and that is certainly something that I agree with, that just the fullbacks are not good enough for the Premier League is the point I was trying to make. You wouldn't look at Fredericks, Cresswell, Masuaku. How many Premier League clubs do you think would buy those from West Ham and put them in their first team? And I'm not talking about Man City here. Do those three get in Burnley's team and so on and so forth? I don't think they do, and that's why the area needs strengthening. But good points, Tom. Beat on the Donis. Have I got that right? Beat on the Donis? Is it one of those tricks? I hope not. I'll probably say, maybe I've just said something rude and not realised it. I said Henry and Cash would probably cost 20 to 25 million. I think it means both of them. Problem is, Diangana is probably the only player who could fetch that at the moment. Maybe it's time for Golden Sullivan to dip their hands into their pockets. Yeah, okay, well, clearly we want them to dip their hands into their pockets. Will they? We don't know. It's unlikely. But I think I picked out that one because it's number one, I fancy pronouncing the name. And number two, I thought it was, that is the worry, isn't it? A saleable asset. Is Rice too much of a saleable asset? Maybe. What's our next one? Maybe Diangana. Does Diangana go to fund a couple of fullbacks coming in? And we're going to get on to Henry in just a second, by the way. But I'm yet to be convinced. He's starting the season with Fornals on the left wing, isn't he, David Moyes? I think he is. Just got a hunch. The pre-season doesn't suggest that. Got a hunch. Almost the same team we finished with, obviously. This is from Clayton. Basically, Clayton, he says if we're looking at in the Championship for left back, he would be looking at either Pedersen of Birmingham, who's well-rounded, defensive-minded fullback, and Manning of QPR, who has a defensive attributes, but very attack-minded. See, I don't know. I've not seen enough of Manning. I thought that Manning was too attack-minded and not defensive enough. But here's the point, and here's why I picked Clayton's post out. What does he say? Excuse me. He said, "Do not think Henry is in any way better in any department than the two I have mentioned." Right. Here's the point. Right, and that's Clayton's point of view, and he's very, very welcome to it. And who I'd say I've not seen the other two play really. Looking at Henry, I think from an attacking point of view, he is tons better than what we have. What worries me about Henry is I'm not sure how defensively good he was when I saw him. Should I judge Henry in a friendly against West Ham United? Probably not, but it's also all I've got, really. I watched him a little bit, a good football inside Brentford. Watched him a few times last season, maybe three, maybe even two, maybe not even that. And I wouldn't say that he was the one player that particularly stood out, although maybe he did because they were quite strong down that left-hand side. But, I mean, just defensively, I thought we were able to get him quite a lot. But I thought, I was going to say offensively then. From an attacking point of view, I thought he caused us a ton of problems. So I think that one's really interesting. Whilst we're all sort of fawning over Rico Henry, I say fawning, not falling. While we're all fawning over Rico Henry, thinking he's the answer to everything, maybe he's not. Maybe we maybe we haven't signed him because we can't afford him. But maybe, just maybe, we're not interested because actually defensively, he might be a bit suspect. I might have it wrong. I usually do. No change there. No change there. Anyway, I think that's all about it. Thanks ever so much for your comments on that, I must say, and for getting all involved in the comments, and mostly for most of you just writing left back. You made it clear. You've made your point. Maybe we should stick it all in an envelope and post it to David Sullivan at his mansion, of course.